Hello, and good morning or afternoon or whatever it may happen to be. Got another little quick kind of tutorial kind of thing here. So for anyone that has ever played AC3 and thought, man, sure would be nice to be able to hit something with rockets. Well, this is kind of a response to that. So recently was watching one of Mr. TBM's videos, and yeah, there was a mention that the general trajectory and stuff like that might be a little bit different in AC3, and yeah, it is fairly different. So, in terms of how exactly you do rockets and stuff in AC3, you don't really use the FCS aiming at all. That thing is unreliable at best. Basically, what you want to actually use to aim is kind of a mental image of the little, I don't know what you'd call that thing, little chest pointy that comes out of your AC. Because, yeah, all you're really doing is you're not really aiming using the system, you are figuring out an average height. So the first step of every rocket fight is just figure out the average height where they're going to be. So if it's a tank, if it's a quad, aim it down very slowly. It's typically about a half-second tap of the circle button if you're using the PSP controls. And you want to basically just aim it down very slightly. And there you go. The second thing you want to figure out is what your firing angle is going to be. So depending on what type of rockets you're using, I just want to use these mids here as an example because you can see a lot of them are kind of flying right by them. Depending on which type of rockets you're using, you're going to get a different trajectory and things like that. So, for example, right here, when they were coming off the left, I had to adjust my aim very slightly to the left in order to compensate for their particular movement. What I've generally found is whenever you're sitting still and firing, you're going to have a way harder time actually hitting something than trying to just force them to run into you. So I'm going to try to find a relatively quick one here. Yeah, Sweet Sweeper's alright. He likes to hop around. So I'm using Arena mostly because it's a flat area. You can pull this off anywhere. It's just, I mean, this one's easier to show. Personally, I love Reservoir, but whatever. Gonna get rid of the Malums. I don't know why on earth I had those things there. But yeah, so you figure out an average height. So in this particular case, he's gonna be up in the air. Like if you're doing something like fighting Ace, they're generally gonna be up in the air most of the time. So that's usually what you want to aim for. So figure out your vertical axis first, then from there figure out what their curves look like. So when they're boosting, every II will have some way that they essentially move and stop. So if you figure that out, you can make some progress there. Another thing, if you have the option, now in his particular run, he didn't have the option for these, but if you have napalm rockets, use them, suckers. They're amazing. Second thing to consider, if you have hand rockets available, which again, I don't think they are for that run, you're going to have an easier time hitting center mass because you're firing from center mass. If you're using mids or heavies or anything like that from the back, you have to compensate for the fact that you're firing from above most of the time. Another thing to get used to is these kind of little twitch taps. So these, it's like if you get the sense that they're about to turn in a particular direction, I just kind of just quickly adjust and fire vaguely where you think they might be. Don't ever try to go for a precise shot. It never works out. These things are super imprecise, but you can run them into your rockets a lot easier than you can actually attempt to directly aim them. Which is especially funny because if you ever see two people doing a rocket fight online, it's both sides are going to have a really hard time actually avoiding anything because, yeah, both of them are actively trying to hit each other, so they're usually going to be running into each other's rockets just out of pure habit. It's a really funny thing as far as that goes. Okay, let's just set this guy on fire and call it a day. There we go. So yeah, those angles are really all you're trying to look for. You kind of just got to feel it out. Again, don't try to aim. Just let them run into your rocket. Figure out how fast the rocket's going, then yeah. Figure out how to make the AI run into that particular path, and there you go. You suddenly have a very, very high DPS weapon that can do all kinds of fun things. And to show you really quickly just what I mean about Ace here, we'll see if we can get it first try. Probably won't, because usually it takes a few tries with some of these more advanced AIs. Ace, advanced, ha. Anyway, so like for example in his particular case, yeah, I already missed it. He always goes for the jump at first. He goes for that kind of medium height type situation. We're going to start off with, I think we'll go ahead and start off with the napalms to try to slow him down a little bit. Mids will work just fine, but you can see he does this kind of like little downward drop situation. So that's your moment. It's like right there, you know he's going to do the drop. not going to need the Malums, because they're just weighing us down, because they're not very good in this game. And yeah, always drop excess weight. Always want to have a little bit more speed, have a little bit more reaction time. Watch radar. In that particular case, got clipped with the grenade, so it didn't get the opening. In most cases, you want to try to go for dead angles. But yeah. Especially AIs that love to blade are kind of hilarious when this goes. And a lot of times you can figure out a timing to counter their blades, like we did just there a moment ago. Unfortunately, that one didn't quite work out, but, you know, it does how it does. So, yeah, so figure out the average height, figure out what their best openings are, and then just kind of spam those particular things. And here I was hoping to get him first try. Oh, well. Such things happen. Might as well keep trying. Yeah, I got caught on him there. That's definitely a danger of doing this particular strategy. But yeah, if you ever need to catch up on DPS, that's what the large rockets are for. If you ever need to slow somebody down, that's what the napalms are for. If you ever want longevity, mediums do that pretty well. And then if you ever just need a whole lot of shots, for example, if you need to get rid of props or what have you, these small rockets are your friend. And yeah, hand rockets, always go for those. They are, well, by virtue of being the only thing, going to be best in slot. But but yeah, no, they're pretty fantastic. Not to mention damage-wise, they're pretty amazing. Like they'll pretty much overheat almost anything in one shot. But that's largely because of this weird mechanic where they actually... so the hand rockets, funnily enough, if you didn't know this, are actually just two small rockets. Like, it literally isn't even a different projectile, it's just two small rockets stacked on top of each other. So you can't potentially, like, hit one and miss another. But yeah, back when I was doing the original rocket run here, there actually was a certain point that I would actually be able to nail that shot, that vertical shot right off the bat every time. So definitely not recommended to do it this particular way, but yeah, it's there as an option. Personally, I think it's a really fun challenge run of this game. Definitely way more fun in Silent Line with your additional rocket options. The lefty napalms are... Honestly, I don't know who balanced those things, because between your other options, it's almost... Honestly, it's almost comical how strong they are. Because if we're comparing DPS and things like that, like, okay, the lefty howitzer, 1400 has 50 shots. All right, fantastic. With your ammo expanders and having a rocket on the back, you can potentially create a situation where you've got napalm rockets going up to 120 shots. And that's, yeah, each one of those are doing like minimum 400 against most things. Not to mention slowing them down for the duration, so a lot of times if you need something, like I said, to stay out of the air as much as possible, then you have that option. Oh, by the way, if you are going for higher tier AIs, they do cheat. So, yeah, like in the arena and things like that, they do all tend to cheat their heating. So what I was saying earlier about overheats coming from these particular hand rockets, yeah, it takes about 4 volleys to get this guy, if I recall correctly. I missed my timing there. There's this kind of back curve maneuver you can do there as well, as you may have noticed, where you can potentially hit him while he's circling around your side. But again, you just kind of got to feel those things out. Eventually it just kind of becomes second nature. Sometimes that second nature gets used against you as soon as they break their pattern for a little bit. Such things happen. And yeah, all of these will function entirely different in Last Raven and things like that. Just because the shot velocity drastically slows down, so they're way, 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 way faster in this one. Not to mention the amount of shots is lower, so you tend to be more cautious. You can spam your rockets way more in this one, and especially Silent Line. Like the lefty napalms, you can just spam them suckers all day, just set everything on fire. Basically, just go full Vietnam on that mess. But yeah, that's kind of dark. Anyway, sorry, just finishing off one last attempt here. See if we can get this guy. Bad time to run out of ammo. Wasn't keeping an eye on that. But anyway, there you go. Give it a shot. Let me know how it goes, and hope you have a good one. Take care.